It's like the guys, right? It's like they want to buy condom, then they buy like 20 cans of potato chips.
Hi, I'm Jessica.
Hi, I'm Sangi.
Hi, I'm Cheryl.
Hi, I'm Leah, and this is
Zula Chick Chats.
Hi guys, welcome to this episode. So today we're going to be talking about pregnancy scares.
Jing jing.
Ta-da. So let's just for everybody out there watching the videos, right? Okay, please define what is a pregnancy scare.
I don't know, I'm virgin.
Don't lie.
Sis, I should be saying
In
that.
my nostril.
I am a virgin, actually I am.
Okay, wow, what an
Okay.
angel.
Okay.
Angel.
But I think a pregnancy scare is definitely when you definitely miss a period or you start seeing symptoms.
Like, pregnancy symptoms are actually very similar to period symptoms.
Exactly.
Everyone's different lah. So for me, it's like I get lower back pain, and like one of the signs of pregnancy is the lack of lower back pain. Pregnancy scare basically is you think you kena the tiao lah. That's it lah.
And on from that, if you have personal experiences, please share. If not, just talk about it in what you think it is, or have you heard any stories about it?
Sorry, mom, I had sex without condoms.
Okay.
And you raised me better, but I am stupid sometimes. We're long-term partners. Sometimes I don't use condoms lah, because you know it's like in the heat of the moment, girl. I was in year 2 of uni. I was very giddy, and then I felt very nauseated, normal things lah. And my period was late, so I remember lying on my bed in hall, texting my friends oh my god guys, I'm not coming for cheer training because I feel very nauseated. And then the next day I went to my class, and then my teacher said oh, you're probably having electrolyte deficiency because the child was also having the same symptoms. So cannot the child kena pregnant, right? So I drank non-carbonated H2O, and I felt so much better. So it's
Yes, other factors that always apply.
I had a pregnancy scare with my current boyfriend once. I shared with him my scare. I was like, hey, shit, I think I might be pregnant. Anyway, I got myself checked with a kid and I was not pregnant.
Yeah.
But I decided, hey, let's test his reaction. Just tell him I'm pregnant. I mastered my tears. And I was just like, I'm really pregnant. Then he was like, oh, really? Oh my god. Wow. Okay. So it was neither very happy, and also it was not oh shit. So then after that he was like, really not, don't bluff me. Okay, don't worry, we'll get through this. What do you want to do about it and everything? So now that I know this is his reaction to it, I feel more calm.
I was 19. Then it's first time have sex with your boyfriend and everything, right? Then you just okay, I don't know how this is supposed to work, but my period's late. Then I just okay, maybe nothing. Then 2 weeks leh. Then 2 weeks already damn delayed. So I just as a 19-year-old child, I
Nani?
Yeah, it's really nani. And then I only had one friend who I really trusted to talk about it, right? So I told her, she's like, what the fuck, your period haven't come here for 2 weeks. I just yeah, then how? Then she's like, okay, I follow you, right? I go to 7-Eleven, then I go and buy for you. I went to the toilet to take it, right? In the moment of 10 minutes, I was sitting there and just holding the fucking pee stick. So we timed 5 minutes, actually timed. So when the timer opened, I then one night so it reached the point where I even went to go and buy the kid, because it's so scary, 2 weeks already. So next question, right, is why do people have sex without a condom if they're scared of getting pregnant?
When I ask my guy friends and all of that, I also ask them, so what happened to you using protection?
Yeah.
And they go huh? For what need to use protection? Then I'm like, you just say your girlfriend had a scare.
Nani?
And then he said, oh, but my pull-out game damn strong.
Oh my god! This line.
This is the line. And I think
never heard this line.
What? Oh my god!
They associate their ability to pull out with the fact that I am masculine. If you get a girl pregnant and they don't know what to handle, right? Then I don't
That happened to you, man.
Okay, so it's when you're with your long-term partner, right? And then it's just it's a stable relationship, and then you kind of trust them.
It's trust.
When you know that it's not that easy to get pregnant, and you don't have sex on your fertile days, and if anything happens, you know that your relationship is somewhat stable enough to towards whether you want to have abortion or if you guys will have a baby. If it's casual sex, always use condoms.
Yes, just always use condoms.
100%.
For me, I think that condoms are a chore, so I just stick with oral contraceptives, so I can have sex without condom
Yes.
and still be safe.
My standpoint is the same as everybody lah.
Right.
Not only just about not using condom, right? It's when your fucking contraceptive breaks, right? Then you GG also,
Yes.
because this kind of thing, right, is you won't know until maybe he really pulled out and you see like, oh shit, like something wrong. So in these kind of cases, right, like the plan is to just go and get plan B.
Plan B is basically like an emergency contraception that you take the morning after. The common one in Singapore is you take one and then like I think 24 hours later,
take another one.
You have to take another one. It's very harmful for your body because it's basically like cleanse your entire body. It should not be used as like a normal form of contraception.
So leading on from this, the next question then would be, what do you do after you find out you have a pregnancy scare? So
I think the first thing is to calm down. And if you're someone who tracks your period, go and check your period cycle, go check your fertility cycle and everything and see what's the highly likely possibility for it to happen. And then go to someone that you can really trust. And if this is your partner, it will be the best. But if you really can't and you're just really, really scared, go to a friend that you really trust. And before all this like physical procedures or like going to a store and getting a kit, I think it's very important to be very mentally and emotionally calm because if not, it can really worsen things.
You should go to the root of the problem in the sense that you should practice safe sex. I decided I didn't want to have this, so it's very unnecessary stress. Like you guys said, so like have sex with a condom or don't have sex at all. Like you know, that's no way you can get pregnant lah. If the condom breaks or like whatever, next day just get a plan B. But don't see it as something that you know you can just like
rely
abuse.
on.
Yeah. You can always go to a clinic or polyclinic to get like a test.
So to wrap things up, any advice for all the girls out there, and even guys who you know are responsible for all these pregnancy scares?
Actually, I feel like a lot of the times when we ask girls, we get pregnancy scares, right? We don't really involve the guy in it. Like we sort of try to deal with it ourselves, which I think is not fair to ourselves. I feel like he should be part of the process. We're going with you to get the future contraceptive pills, right?
He was part of it, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, you know,
Mutual responsibility lah.
It's very important for like two like consenting individuals to know that it's both parties' responsibility because no matter how much you want to have fun and like do whatever nonsense, you really need to just hold the responsibility that this happened and now we're going to try to fix it and don't run away from your problems.
Really like I'm like safe sex number one. Like I'm super all for sex, but like always safe sex, and that will give you like a peace of mind.
If you don't plan to have children or anything, right, take more precaution in terms of like doing the birth control, for example, having safe sex, etc. Be mentally prepared that all this shit is gonna happen to you in the future, and at least let it be with someone that you really trust, so your partner, right? For me personally, I'm also like I'm very pro like life, so like I would say that at least know like with this person that you are having a long-term relationship with, that you can see a future with this person. Yeah, but for me, it's like if now you tell me I'm pregnant with my boyfriend, I'll be like, oh, okay, whatever. Yeah, like,
really?
Cool. Yeah, I'm like, oh, cool.
And I think the most important thing is to actually have the conversation of what if we get pregnant? Like it's a we, you know, it's not what if I, it's a what if we get pregnant with your partner. And even if you're not sexually active, have it because especially if you're in like long-term relationship, I think it's really important to just have the conversation and like what you say, you know, like see if this relationship is gonna work out with this person, but don't like.
But maybe not so extreme. Not so extreme. Like sit down, drink
doesn't always work out that way.
And then kind of plan like say that okay, what if it does happen like one day? What's our choices? Are you like pro-life, pro-choice?
At the end of every of our Chick Chats videos, it's communication.
Trust and respect.
Correct.
You do you, boo.
In this episode, we talked about pregnancy scares and how you should practice safe sex. So I hope the advice was useful for you girls and guys out there.
Correct. And if you guys want to know any other topics or want us to talk about anything else, leave it down in the comments. And also remember to like, share, and subscribe. Bye!